welcome to another edition of High School Lowdown. It's the Vicksburg Post football preview show. This is Corey Gunkel to my left. I'm Ernest Boker, and we're going to take you through another exciting set of games this week. First up on the docket this week is a school with a funny name, Chef. Central Home Educators Fellowship, independent school out of Baton Rouge, home school. Will come to town and play Porter's Chapel this week. And Porter's Chapel really needs a win after four losses in a row, and a tough one last week to Wilkinson Christian.
Yeah, that loss basically eliminated them from getting into the playoffs through their district, but they still have a chance at a wild card, and this game won't count for that. But homecoming and a little bit of confidence boost, I mean, they definitely need a win right now.
Right, as you said, there was three teams in their district. PCA is 0-2. They cannot get an automatic bid to the playoffs, but they can still get a wild card. But it's going to take a lot to get in. They've got a Benton Academy, very good team, still on the back end of the schedule. Class 2A Riverfield, also 5-0, still on the back end of the schedule. So even though this game doesn't count for anything, it's, like you said, a big confidence boost that they're going to need going into those last couple of games. That'll be determining whether or not they can make a run at a wild card.
Yeah, I mean, talk about finishing. Porter's Chapel has had trouble doing that this year. See if they can finish this game, get up and keep the lead and get a big win.
All right. Next up is Vicksburg High traveling to Jackson to take on Lanier. And Lanier are usually not a very good team traditionally, but this is one of those games, Vicksburg, if they're going to do anything as far as making a run at playoff berth, that they really need to get. You can't afford to lose these games that you should win.
Got to win this. It's Vicksburg's region opener. They're going on the road, and Coach Marcus Rogers talked a lot last week during the bye about kind of simplifying the offense, bringing it to even more of a fundamental basis than it was, trying to eliminate the turnovers and trying to eliminate just the penalties and miscues that have just plagued them this year. Go up there and get a huge win to start region play.
Right, and you mentioned the turnovers. I think that's really the big thing. They really need to eliminate those mistakes. They're 2-2, and that kind of shows the way they've played, up and down, 500. Good sometimes, bad other times. And if they can even that out, I think they'll be all right in district. As we spoke about last week, it's really, their region is really not that stacked right now. So, Pearl finally got a good win last week, but other than them and maybe Germantown, there's really a lot of parity in that region that they can take advantage of.
Absolutely. Got to get the win this week, though, to get things rolling.
That's right. The next game we're going to talk about here is St. Al, hitting the road again. They came home for 1 week, and now they go back on the road, traveling to Shelby, Mississippi to take on Broad Street, last year's Region 2 1A champions. And last year, St. Al took care of these guys pretty easily. It was amazing the turnaround Broad Street had to make a run and win that region last year.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good game. I think this is going to be St. Al's first test in a while. Would you agree with that?
At least within the region.
Right, and they're clicking on all cylinders right now. I mean, the Flashes, they're scoring on special teams. Connor Smith is managing the game really well, and their defense is holding opponents to, 14 points last week?
Right, it was 35-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
I think at least one of those came against the second team defense.
Yeah, I mean, they are clicking right now, and this is a game that, like you said, going on the road, you got to snag it.
Absolutely, and as we said, Broad Street is a team. They won the region last year. Certainly it should be a capable program. Mm-hmm. Struggling a little bit out the gate this year. But if St. Al can get this one and go to 3-0 in region, they'll be sitting really good going into that back half of the region schedule.
Absolutely.
And our final game this week, what on paper should be the game of the week out of our four county schools, Warren Central hosting Northwest Rankin. And Northwest Rankin, a little bit of a rebuilding job after a couple of down years, but they're looking better as the rest of Region 2 6A is. And Warren Central, big game for them. They really need to get off on the right foot after a 4-0 start. They need to keep it rolling going into region play.
Absolutely, and it's a home game, so there's going to be a raucous crowd out there. Northwest Rankin, they're 2-3, and all three of their losses have come on the road. I think they're averaging just a shade over 20 points on the road, but they've scored 40 points in both of their wins at home. So that bodes well for Warren Central, but I think this game's going to come down to Warren Central's defense. And then Alex Stevens play at QB. I mean, he had 2 picks last week on only 2 passes in the second half. If he can manage the game, I think Warren Central takes this one.
All right, this game traditionally, too, it wasn't so much last year. Warren Central handled them pretty easily, and it doesn't look like it's going to be the case this year. But in the past, it's kind of been a barometer for Warren Central. There was a long stretch there where these were always competitive games, and if Warren Central won it, they made the playoffs. If they lost, they missed out on the playoffs. This year it's kind of the next level for Warren Central, I think. If they win this one, it's, as we talked about with Vicksburg, it's one of those games that they need to win. they should win, but one that they need to win to get things rolling. I think they'll be in pretty good shape as far as going into the meat of the region schedule.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning into this edition of High School Lowdown. For live scores on Friday night, check us out on Twitter at Vix Post Sports. It's VIXPOSTSPORTS. Or check us out after the game on our website, VicksburgPost.com, or just pick up the old-fashioned newspaper on Saturday morning at your local newsstand. For Corey Gunn, I'm Ernest Bover, and we'll see you next week.